All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being with us. My name is Angie Bailey on behalf of the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Weston Florida Chamber of Commerce, and the Pembroke Park West Park Chamber of Commerce. We are here to start talking about AI. We know this is at the forefront of technology, that we have no choice. We need to get on board with this and understand how to use it. And one of the most integral parts, of course, is learning how to talk to AI to elicit the right responses out of it, right? So we want to make sure we know exactly how to prompt everyone and how to prompt whatever AI tools we're using. So to that end, I want to introduce our speaker today, who is Mr. Mike Pina. He is the founder of AI Rocketship. It's a startup that launched in 2024. And AI Rocketship empowers small businesses with the tools of AI and analytics. He has almost decades of experience across various sectors, including healthcare, financial crimes, marketing, and the music business. In his former community of Southwest Miami-Dade, he served others by partnering with the community leaders and institutions to fundraise for cancer and for ministry outreach to underserved communities. Mike holds an MBA in business intelligence from DeVry and a journalism degree from FIU, both of which have helped pivot him to his focus towards AI content generation and its potential for business development. So, Mr. Pina, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for always sharing all this information on AI. This is so important and so important for our business to get on board with. So, take it away.
It truly is a pleasure to be part of everyone's growth when it comes to AI. I am beyond passionate about this subject. And prior to getting into all this, I was just like many of you who are on the call right now, clueless. I didn't understand. I had some ideas. From the moment I downloaded my app of ChatGPT, the free version, of course, almost two years ago, I think it was. And I didn't understand what's the point of this, because I was like, okay, you can put in some information and maybe get an output, but I didn't really see a use for it until business started changing and I realized you can do so much. One of the best lessons that I've learned in working with prompting is how to make effective prompts. Okay. And what I wanted to go over, and I'm going to start sharing my screen in just a minute, is a couple of basics that are going to be super helpful. I'm going to introduce the 3 Ps, okay? P as in Paul, of just some basic ideas that you should have whenever you're prompting. And I'm sure it's going to be useful for everybody. So without further more, let me go ahead and just do a quick share screen over here. Bear with me one moment. And let me know if you can see my screen. Just going to enlarge it over here. Okay.
You're good to go.
Yes, we can.
Let me get this thing out of here. Everybody good?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the feedback. All right, so today we have AI Prompt Perfect, Mastering the Art of Talking to Artificial Intelligence. This is presented by AI Rocketship. That's me, presenting for the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce. I cannot thank you enough for opening this opportunity to the entire world and everybody who's going to learn and learn from it. Awesome. So, as you know, Angie already introduced me, just putting out some additional information. My name is Mike Pina. I am the founder and the chief AI strategist here at AI Rocketship LLC. We are a Miramar-based business focusing on AI education, generative AI services. That's all the creative stuff that you see happening lately on LinkedIn. And of course, digital marketing solutions for small business. I've included my information. If you need to reach me, I'm very accessible. My email's on there, and you can always visit us online, www.airocketship.com, where I hope you'll find plenty of useful information, okay? As Angie promised, the slides should be available within the next 24 hours or so. I will make them available for you. So, got a couple of things we're going to be covering today. So I put all the details on the screen. If you could see the overview, we're going to talk about what is prompting, who is it for, why is it a business skill, the 3 Ps. I really want you to focus on that. It's going to be super, super helpful. We're going to look at a couple of industry examples of prompts. We're going to talk about free versus paid AI, which is another question that has come up lately. A couple of AI best practices, and then I'll open up the floor for a little bit of Q&A, and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible within the allotted time. And then last but not least, just a quick blurb about the upcoming events regarding AI. Okay, everybody set? So let's talk. Intro. What is prompting? I put a basic definition, all right, just to kill the noise. And let's look at it from this perspective. the act of providing an input to an AI model, which gives you ultimately an output. So with that being said, many of you are already using services like perplexity.ai. You're using ChatGPT. You may have a free version on your cell phone, or you may have a paid version on your desktop like I do, which gives you a lot more options for what you're trying to do. But in any case, anytime you input a set of instructions into any AI model, it has to take your information, interpret it, connect it with its large language model. Think of it kind of like a database, just to make it very simple, and then give you a result. The fun thing that always seems to happen is that we don't always get the result that we want. We've heard of things like hallucinations in AI, where the large language model or the service like ChatGPT may make up a response. This is very common. In order to avoid things like that and to get the best response possible, we have to learn as a business skill how to ask the right questions. It's not a matter of asking the question, it's asking the right questions, refining, and ultimately, the more that you practice, the more that you're going to get it and the better that your prompts are going to be, giving you an even better output. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. Many of you, for example, are already using ChatGPT, and I put on here, I'm going to zoom in a little for those of us who may be struggling to see the screen. Can we see that as I'm pulling in? I put a very basic prompt. Provide me with a standard NDA. Consider I'm a freelance photographer who works in the state of Florida. Should be one-page document that addresses compensation, length of time at event, supplies used, and client responsibility. As you can see, you're going to notice immediately there may be misspellings. I didn't put any pauses. I just wrote it as it sounds. We typically prompt like that. We type very fast, or you may speak into your cell phone or your desktop like I do, and a microphone just picks up everything you say, including the mistakes. Sometimes we may mix up a word and it comes out all wrong. What does something like ChatGPT do? It takes your prompt, interprets it, and then gives you a result, ultimately providing something like this type of NDA. Now, if you have the paid version of ChatGPT, you should be able to download the document and actually tell the prompt, save as a Word document, enter, and it provides the document. From here, typically what you do as the user, you're going to be entering your information, tweaking something like an NDA, right? So this is great. And you can throw all kinds of options at it. Make an NDA, make a standard contract, what type of industry. It's not just limited to creating a basic contract or an agreement. Maybe you want to come up with something poetic or an introduction to an email you're about to send to a potential client. So it's great, but you have to ask the questions in the right way. And that's what we're here to do today. Another prompting example, if you're working in something like real estate, I have Phil Archer. He's one of our local licensed realtors, with Lifestyle International Realty. And you wanted to come up with a description for your Instagram post. You can prompt away in something like ChatGPT and ask it, write a post about a listing or about an event that we had, and it'll create the context. But again, and here's what you need to focus on. The better that your prompt is, the more descriptive that it is, the more effective the message is going to come out on the other end. All right. And this is just one example, obviously, for like an Instagram post. Moving on, if you're going to do, for example, text to video or text to image, which I work heavily with because I'm fascinated by it, same situation. Even when prompting to make creative content, like for digital marketing, let's say, for example, you want to make a new logo, you want to rebrand something, you want to make the cover to packaging, you need ideas. You can start in ChatGPT, okay? Come out with a prompt and then put it in a service like this. This is Runway. You've heard of Runway, you've heard of Midjourney, Kyber.ai. There's a lot of services out there. As long as you put a very descriptive prompt that breaks down what it is that you're looking for, you're able to get an even higher quality output. So for me, I have the extra amount of detail that I got to constantly put in when it comes to video, because often video doesn't get it right. And the thing about video prompts is that it's taking away from your credits. You have to pay for this. Services can cost anywhere from $15 to $30 per month. They may give you 1,000 credits. And as an example, in this little video that I did here, it's only 5 seconds that it ends up playing, but it cost me 25 credits. So I need to make sure that I'm putting the best prompt, because if not, it's just taking away from my inventory of available credits that I could have used for something else. Why would I want to generate a video with mistakes? Let me go and get it right the first time. All right. Moving on. So who is this for? This is the fun part. It's for everyone. Realty, finance, corporate offices, banking, medical care, scribing. I've done that too. Any type of small business, restaurant business. If you're communicating with customers, prompting is going to be highly effective for you. One of the biggest challenges that we have as a humanity is our challenges with communication. It never stops. And we have to get it right when it comes to prompting. So who is this for? This is for everybody. And why brings me to my next point. AI prompting is a business skill. Okay. AI has changed how we do business. The more that you learn about this, the better that you get. If you can grasp basic prompting, how to put an input in and what kind of questions, how to ask your questions, you're going to get stronger outputs. And ultimately, what we're seeing, even in the human resources world, it's becoming a required business skill. Now, if you're a small business, obviously, you're not going to be applying for the job. You are the job, but it's still a requirement that you want to take on and have at least some basic understanding. And that's what we're here to explore. So it's a business skill and it's growing in demand. Also, the types of AI used for business, you may see it, for example, ChatGPT, you may see it in Canva in one portion, Microsoft Copilot, Gemini. There's almost an infinite and overwhelming amount of services out there that are starting to integrate AI into your daily usage. And test me on this. Pick up your iPhone. I have a Samsung Galaxy S24. The moment I take a picture, I can already start to remove elements, or I can generate with a prompt things that I want to create in the picture. So it's in all types of technology. And the idea with this is that it's supposed to make things easier. One thing I encounter, and I have to share this, now that I have your attention, I run into the same thing constantly with business owners. They're uninformed, they're afraid or terrified, or they want nothing to do with AI. And my response to that is, first of all, you shouldn't be afraid. Embrace it, because it's going to help you. The other thing to consider is, if you're not using AI, your competitor is, I promise you. And you want to have the edge when it comes to business. So you got to learn this. And that's what we're here to do. The 3 Ps. If there's anything that you get from today's presentation, it's this. Take a screenshot. I'll give you a moment. Write it down as you like. You can wait whenever the presentation comes out. But these are the 3 Ps. These are for good practice to make you stronger. Again, if anything that you take away from today's time together, it's going to be this: purpose, precision, possibilities. 3 Ps. Okay. Let's move on. Let's explain. What does that mean? Well, when it comes to prompting, you have to understand what is the purpose behind it. Before you just go ahead and send out a message and say, you prompt in ChatGPT, for example, make me an image of a cat standing on a hat. Well, you have to ask yourself, why do you want that? What is the purpose? Is this marketing material? Is this going to be a funny image you're going to send to somebody? Is it going to be humorous, sad? You have to ask internally, what is the goal? What is the end result? Say, you can't get to the end result without understanding why you're doing things in the first place. And there's a similar approach you want to take when it comes to prompting. And why do we do it? Obviously, to get an answer. Many of us are using ChatGPT, for example, or perplexity.ai, which is phenomenal, to get simple answers. His questions on history. I use it for my class sometimes. We were discussing Roman history, and I had to figure out something about one of the Caesars. Where did I go? I'm not even going to Google anymore. I'm actually going to perplexity.ai. It's insane how we're going from an established medium like Google to now an AI service to learn. and we need answers because we're always digging for information. Another popular method that we utilize ChatGPT for will be with document review. Those of you who are working in real estate or contracts, and you're using, for example, a paid version of ChatGPT, typically you may find yourself dragging and dropping a document and then asking, you have to ask the right prompt, analyze the document, see which areas need most attention, or look for misspellings, look for certain values above a certain threshold. You can do that. And it makes things a lot easier than simply trying to approach a document with a bare eye. Think of the amount of time that it takes to read service agreements. If you have a new vendor, they send you the document. Drop it into ChatGPT and allow it to review it for you. And of course, you're always going to put a second set of eyes, make sure that the information is accurate. All right. Document creation. So we looked earlier at an example of creating a sample NDA. You want to send an email, you want to send a love poem because it's Valentine's, and maybe you're stuck on ideas. You want to think of an arrangement for a party that you're planning. I have a client who does party planning in Miami, and she needed ideas for how do we do this differently for this type of venue. So you can prompt away into service like ChatGPT and ask it to suggest ideas. But again, giving it the right ingredients so that you can get a better output. Okay. With what I showed you with the airplane, with the logo, that comes down into what is generative AI. So you can do things like create images, for example. Images are great for marketing, making fun of things, political satire, you name it. They're all over. Now, there is always, and I stress this with everybody because I feel very passionate about this. When it comes to ethical AI, use AI responsibly. If you're going to make images, use it responsibly in a way that is not offensive, obviously, that doesn't defame somebody, because unfortunately, sometimes people think AI and they think the negative stuff. Oh, did you see what they're doing now in social media? They took somebody's face and put it on the body of another, and they're making a whole joke out of it, and it's going viral. Yes, things can go viral very fast, and unfortunately, bad news goes a lot quicker than good news. So I always remind individual users, use your generative AI, such as making images, as responsible as possible. Now, what I love, one of the best things about prompting is in idea generation. You have a team, or maybe you are the team, like myself. I have to make a lot of decisions on my own. Sometimes, I need a little support or something just to ignite that spark of creativity. I will go and prompt and I'll ask ChatGPT, suggest me 10 to 15 options for something I'd like to do, an event, an image, a video, a possible arrangement I can do with a client, see how we can both benefit. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, we're working till 10, 11 at night and we're exhausted. We obviously want to be able to do more. Bear with me one moment. Okay, I see we got a few other individuals admitted. Welcome to the meeting, by the way. So for the 3 Ps of what we're focusing on today, we're going to finish number 1, which is purpose. Why are you prompting? To get an answer, document review, creating documents, creating images, or generating ideas, coming up with new concepts. Number 2, precision. Structure high quality prompts. Okay. This is where we get into the meat of today's discussion. Okay. So I actually tried to do a video. It didn't work out well of what some prompts look like. And I kind of envisioned myself making a sandwich at Subway where you're just kind of grabbing bread, throwing different items, cheese, mayo, and just slap it together and move on. We tend to prompt like that. I want you to take a different approach. Take your time, craft a very specific prompt. You want to give it specific details, okay? Let's just use something as an example, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, okay? You want to come up with a brand new light bulb, all right? If you're going to prompt and you need ideas for a new light bulb, one of the simplest products to sell, right? You want to give specific details about where do you plan to sell it? Should it be Bluetooth enabled? Should it have different options to change colors, such as LED lighting? Do you want it to be shockproof? That kind of information, the more that you put into your prompt, the better output. Provide a context. Where are you going to sell it? Who's likely to use it? Is it for manufacturing this light bulb or for home usage? You see? As you start building your layers of information for prompting, ultimately, you're going to end up with a nice thick layer of information that you can feed to the large language models such as ChatGPT, and you're going to get just as nice of an output. And from there, you start to refine. Another thing, whenever you're prompting, avoid vague wording, okay? I've done this. I still do it today if I don't feel very creative. And from there, I start to go back to number one, adding details, context. But sometimes you just jump on ChatGPT and you say, create an image of a futuristic computer or design the next version of Mercedes-Benz. Write a poem for me in Portuguese, backwards, things like that. Very vague. Again, we have to go back to providing layers of detail. You don't want to be too vague. And that brings me to the next point. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, if anybody can give a thumbs up, have you heard of this before? Because we do. Okay, we got a thumbs up. Thank you. Very simple. If you put in a vague prompt without details, no context, you input garbage, you're going to get the same thing out. It's pretty much it. It's kind of like you are what you eat. So the idea when it comes to prompting, you want to give it a very descriptive line of detail of what it is that you're doing. So we've already got the first P, all right? Now, moving on from purpose, we moved on to precision. And then we're going to go to the third one, possibilities. I love this. I love this. Refine and reiterate, okay? So let's assume for a minute we made our light bulb prompt in ChatGPT. We got a result, but it could be better, right? And we typically do that with our workflow, whether we were using a service in AI or we were just working with a marketing department and they brought us a rough draft. What do we tend to do? We send it back. This needs working. We get out our highlighters and say, you know what? This is going to need more refining until we can put it out in the public eye. Do the same with prompting. Your first draft is never going to be like your final draft. That's the reality. I've had to go over multiple drafts. In 2024, I drafted, I think it was like a 4-page agreement with the client for a 3-month commitment it was. And in all honesty, it took me like 4 days to go through it because I kept refining it. But what I learned more than anything is what I do want in standard agreements, the type of language, and what I don't want. And now I have a template rather than pulling a template off of Google, which is something I would have done 3-4 years ago. Does it make sense? So be aware that whenever you get a result from a service like ChatGPT, or even when you're making images in some of these generative AI programs, such as Adobe Firefly, which is phenomenal, your final draft is going to look much different from the initial first draft. And that's okay because you want the best output. All right. As you're working on this journey to creating the final output, you want to guide the AI with feedback. I have literally told ChatGPT, I don't like your answer. It could be better. Almost like if I'm talking to a human being, but obviously you're talking to technology. But I tell it, I'll write something and I'll say, be more dramatic, be more sarcastic. When I'm creating images, I'll put little pointers like add ambient lighting, add lifelike texture, create this as if it was a movie poster. I have to tell it what it needs to do. Okay. It's like an employee saying, I'm a fully skilled employee with an MBA and 50 years of technical experience. What do you want me to do? You have to tell it what to do. It'll do exactly what you want, most cases, but you have to guide it. And if you don't like it, keep refining, keep hitting enter, add more layers. So the other thing, try alternate styles, try a different language. Try instead of just dealing with the answer that you're getting from a result in ChatGPT, give it a limit. Say, instead of writing in 500 words, drop it to 250 words. Avoid use of certain types of words. Maybe it's something that is a sensitive subject, like a human resources issue, for example. You can try that. You can certainly do that. Try alternate styles. You know what I like to do once in a while is give it a job or a role. You know, let's say you're writing a poem, poetry, or a description for a product or an Instagram post, and say, I want you to say it like Shakespeare would have said it, but in 2025. I want you to provide me with a rough draft of 250 words of something that Selena Gomez would say in an Instagram post. Why am I doing this? Because if I'm putting Instagram posts online, right? They do not want to listen to me. They want to listen to somebody that sounds and looks, ideally, like Selena Gomez. They want the type of language that this crowd uses, which is very different from my generation. We use different words. And ironically, I'm encountering this with our students where we're at currently during my daytime. I learned that they communicate differently, but they also prompt differently. All right. So we've covered 3 of the P's. All right. Just going back. We have purpose. Why are you prompting? Precision. Structuring high quality prompts, giving all the context and detail that you can give it. Throw everything at it. Don't be ashamed. Okay. They have plenty of patience. And of course, possibilities. Remembering to guide your prompts, because you're never going to know what's truly possible until you keep adding more to it and you get an even better output than you first started with. And you'll see. I constantly encounter this when it's creating generative AI, like making images. The first one looks horrible, always. In fact, I end up having to clean up things in Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom because I didn't like how they came out. That's okay. We're creating things out of thin air almost. Couple of industry examples. So these, what you're seeing on the screen right now are very basic prompts. This is what I want you to avoid, but I want you to understand that it applies to everybody. So if you're a realtor, you're not just going to say, write a 3-sentence home listing. Why? There's not enough meat in your argument, okay? It's like the example of the Subway sandwich. In this case, you didn't put the sandwich together in a sloppy manner like we tend to do. You just gave us the bread. You didn't put anything in it. You just said, write a 3-sentence home listing. Well, where's a home? Is it a daytime photograph of the home that you're envisioning? Is this Pembroke Pines or City of Miami? Is this Cutler Bay or Homestead? Or are we talking about another place? Do you want to write it for a certain audience, a certain demographic group? You can certainly include that in your listing. Certain demographic groups, it's been documented, communicate differently because you have that thing, that big C, culture. They listen, they speak very, very, very differently. You as a realtor, you're selling a property, you need to know this, okay? I want us to get away from the one size fits all method of prompting and start really providing precision prompts that are going to make you so unique that customers are going to have to come buy that house from you. They're going to say, I know that this guy's reliable or this woman is reliable. They know their stuff. They've gone around the area. They've shopped. You know, something else that I realized that is just fascinating, because ChatGPT is connected to the internet. Okay. Sorry if I said that too fast. Because ChatGPT is connected to the internet, when you're putting in your listing, ask in the prompt surrounding areas such as schools, shopping areas, Publix, so it can kind of add a little extra meat and make that listing just more attractive. Okay. And especially if you're using this on the realtor system, I think it's the MLS or it's on Redfin or Zillow. That same information that you created 3 months ago for the house you've been trying to sell is still out there. You're not going to have time to go back and tweak. So try to get it right the first time. Follow the 3 Ps: purpose, precision, and imagine the possibilities. So with realtors, don't just give me a 3-sentence home listing. Go deep. Once you got it in there, it's just a matter of refining. You don't have to type everything up. Quick tip, by the way, and I do this a lot. Don't use your fingers. Go ahead and dictate. Use the microphone function in the cell phone to talk to ChatGPT. Make your life easier. I have done prompts while driving. Now, I don't recommend it, especially if you're driving in South Florida, but I've literally done prompts while driving because it makes things just easier. And there's a pretty cool function there too that a voice comes out and it sounds like I'm talking to a human being. I even gave her a name. I call her Kim. I say, "Good morning, Kim. Let's talk about something today. I want you to come up with a new marketing strategy for AI Rocketship. We want to sell specifically to restaurants in the area. Uh, Give me some typical issues that they encounter in their line of business. Maybe I know nothing about restaurants, for example." Another industry example, finance. This is a prompt I would probably ask if I worked in the financial field. Let's say I work for a company like Principal Mutual Funds, okay? Or for a type of agency that deals only with finances. Maybe I'm on the board. Maybe I work in accounting and I have a document that I just dropped into ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it, what key metrics do you use to define a company's profitability? Pretty straightforward question, but I know we could ask more detail. What key metrics do you use to define Michael's profitability in 2023 and 2024, specifically in selling these types of widgets or these types of speakers or items, whatever it is? Give it more meat is what I'm trying to say. Folks, what I'm telling you, first of all, is not to overwhelm you. It's to empower you. I don't want you to work harder. I want you to work smarter and embrace this technology. If not, we're all going to get left behind. And like I tell everybody, if you are a business, okay, if you are in a leadership role in an organization, if you are running a team and you have people working under you, you're not using AI in 2025, you are already behind. That is the truth. And I promise you, your competitors are using AI. You have to get this stuff. At least, at least get on a bike. Even if you cannot go full throttle yet, get on a bike, get the basics. All right. So for the example of finance, instead of asking such a general question like, what key metrics do you use to define a company's profitability? Ask more detail. Always push for more. Another industry example, entrepreneurs. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love it. They are at the starting phase. They are willing to listen. They are in a position that they're willing to take and deliver feedback. They're all ears, in other words. And one of the things that you may have heard of, obviously, the elevator pitch, or if you're at a trade show, I was at Emerge Americas last year. Um, I had time to talk to a lot of very interesting and important folks out there, but I didn't have enough time. So I really had to make use of that time and deliver as much value in 20, 30 seconds about who I am, what I want to do, where we're going with this, or why we should have a follow-up meeting after this 3-day conference here in Miami Beach. And AI did help. Obviously, you have to adjust it to your style because I communicate differently than some of the individuals on the call. And I don't mean to point anybody out, but if I have Eduardo or Dan, or I've got Todd, or I've got Roy, or even Angie, you all have a different style of communicating. I tend to talk a lot with my hands. I don't know why. It's in my DNA. But you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. The other thing is when you're creating something like a sales pitch for an entrepreneur, typically, and I've noticed this, especially with younger entrepreneurs, you don't know how to pitch. Okay. You have no idea. You say all the wrong things, or you over offer, you're already discounting your services by half, and you haven't even made the first sale. It's a mess. So to give you a competitive edge, go into something like ChatGPT and ask it, create a one paragraph, pitch. This is where you start filling in the loopholes. A pitch for what? To sell life insurance, to sell cell phone cases, to sell laptops, to sell gasoline, to sell sodas, to sell shoes that have graffiti on them, whatever. Who are you going to pitch to? So it's like asking who, what, where, when, and why. Who are we going to pitch to? What are we pitching? Where? Is it in Miami, or is it an online type of clientele? When? Now in 2025, is it going to be for this month, or is it going to be a Valentine's Day promo tell the GPT what you want to do. This goes back to the first P, okay? Purpose. Why are you creating a pitch, Mr. or Mrs. Entrepreneur? Ask yourself, why? Well, we want to sell stuff. Okay, great. You want to sell stuff. How do you want to sell? Who is your ICP, your ideal customer profile? So these are questions that you have to internalize, and then guess what? Tell the AI, because the AI does not think like you, but it will think like you the more that you reveal how you think. So this is the example, creating a one paragraph pitch for entrepreneurs. Again, adding more meat to the conversation, all right? I'm gonna move on. Another industry example, a restaurant owner, okay? Suggest an Instagram caption idea. Great, but it needs more meat. Again, purpose, precision, and what's the third one that we said, right? Possibilities. Think of who's likely to see your Instagram post, okay? I posted today a very simple post, and I didn't realize that most of the viewers are Arabic speaking. I had no idea, okay? But because we partnered with a restaurant that serves Syrian food right here in Pembroke Pines, Shawarma Shack, they're amazing. You need to go, okay? They have a lot of clientele, not only from Venezuela, which I didn't expect, but also from Mediterranean backgrounds. And there's a lot of individuals from that background here in the area. So what I told one of the individuals that came out on a video, if you're following me on Instagram, he's actually one of the students. I told him, text me what you said exactly as it should read in Arabic. So reading from, I believe it's right to left, because I want to put it in a post. Not only that, but I want Instagram to capture that text information, okay, and start running it in the background with its algorithms, its instructions on getting that message to as many people that speak Arabic and read Arabic. Think about that. I'm going to pose the question like this. If you're a restaurant owner, okay, does money discriminate? Isn't it green regardless of who gives it to you? Or in this case, you know, Visa, credit card. If you're going to put a post, why are you only posting in English? We live in South Florida. You have to include at least some element of Spanish, Hindi. We have other demographic groups as well too in the area. Portuguese. There's a huge Brazilian community in Pompano. Why not include something in there? Don't limit yourself to just English, because the reality is your English reading and speaking customers are not the only ones that are going to come shop from you. You're going to have very unique buyers. They may even be from out of town. So I share that just as a gold nugget of information, so that when you do put out your post, you'll assume you're a restaurant owner and you want to get an Instagram caption for something, okay? Not only are you going to ask the who, what, where, when, why, going back to purpose, but now you're adding the layer of precision, and now you're examining the possibilities and thinking, who's likely to read my posts? We're in 2025, okay? I don't have to pay for billboard advertising with any of the major advertisers necessarily. I can get a lot just by posting on social media and using their algorithms, boosting posts, doing it on Instagram, doing it on Google. Google's phenomenal for getting the message out there, but it comes back to you. You are the author of your business. And like I tell business owners, especially entrepreneurs that I've met with in the community, who knows your business better than you? You. It's always going to be you. You know exactly the challenges, the opportunities. You know the value of your product, whether you're selling shawarmas, burgers, or you're doing tire repairs or selling life insurance, whatever it may be. You know the value behind your job and what you can deliver. All right. Free versus paid AI. Let's talk about this. There is a difference. Okay. This is ChatGPT as an example. I'm going to slightly zoom in case you're squinting on the screen. Make sure I can. I just did a screenshot. That's all it is. Free, this is what you get. Plus, this is what you get. Now, there was a time that
Mike, I
Yes.
gotta jump in. I cannot see that. Can you possibly expand that a little bit more? I've closed all my extra windows too. I'm trying to get a clear screenshot. Yeah, that helped a little bit.
No problem. Take your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Stop me at any time if I'm going too fast or you want me to zoom in, please.
You're doing great.
Yep, I got my questions for the end.
Okay, good. And I'll try to finish up this segment because I know we're going pretty fast. So if you're using free, stop. Immediately, stop. Make the investment in yourself, in your business, in your career, and how you plan to communicate with your customers from now till forever. It's $20 a month, okay? We can find $20 a month to pay for ChatGPT. Trust me, you'll find it. There's a huge benefit. For me personally, because I work in digital marketing, I love creating basic images that I then polish in things like Photoshop or Lightroom, or I may throw it in another AI. I tend to do that. I mix and match all the time. But some of the starting images, even for my branding, I'll start in ChatGPT. You will never even know that I started it there. I can only do it with the paid version, okay? I love the fact that with some of these services, even perplexity.ai, if you're not using it, perplexity.ai, phenomenal. A professor at NSU, his name's Rick McCauley. I don't know if you're on the call. He actually introduced me to that last year, and I was blown away because I love how it connects that service, perplexity.ai, to the internet and pulls out sources of what you're trying to find out. You don't really get that with ChatGPT. You don't really see always where you're getting this information from. Try it out. But the paid version is going to give you more. You can deliver more. You get new features. Yes. And this is not a sales pitch, by the way. I don't work for ChatGPT. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned across this journey. Typically, with most AI services, if you subscribe, you get more. That's just a rule of thumb. So I encourage you, try it for a month. If you don't like it, what did you lose? A month, but you learned something different, right? AI best practices, okay? You can do a screenshot of this if you like, or write it down. I try to keep this presentation as simple as possible, straight to the point, not too text heavy, because I figured this is not the best way to learn. Let's engage more rather than just read PowerPoints, right? AI best practices. I'll read it one by one. Refine instead of restart. If you're prompting away, I work in human resources, okay? I'm going to prompt and why I want to come up with a proposal for a client. Enter. You get a result. You don't like it? You don't have to necessarily close a browser. Ask the question again differently. This is going back to that precision. The second letter P, you ask the same question differently. Think of it when we talk to individuals in our own journeys in the world. Sometimes somebody may not understand you. You ask them the same question, not louder like they do at TSA. You ask differently. That's what you got to do when it comes to AI. Ask more, ask differently the question. Save high performing prompts. ChatGPT in particular has an option to save the prompts that you've used that have given you results that you like, especially for repetitive tasks like document review. You could save it. Why are you going to go and reinvent the wheel when you have the conversation history already saved? I used a save prompt from last week on a video that I'm putting together. It'll be out hopefully tonight, because I didn't want to go and reinvent the wheel, because I am creating a certain look of a certain character in a specific way that's unique to the algorithms that I run on my version of ChatGPT, correct? I can't afford to lose that, so I save it. And because I have a paid plan, I can save it. Most importantly, folks, always, please fact check your AI. Do not hit publish. Do not send that email. Do not give a client a proposal until you have looked over the document or the output with your own eyes. You do not want to get a hallucination, meaning the AI created something that shouldn't be there. Can you imagine that you're asking for $50,000 and the thing takes off a zero and it only asks for $5,000? They're going to take you on immediately. You just lost $45,000 as an example. You always want to look over the details. Is the output saying what you had originally intended? So fact check always. All right. if you're using generative AI, by the way, and I'm a stickler for details. When I can tell when things are made with AI pictures, for example, you'll see things like the eyes are crisscrossed, or there may be extra fingers, or just something blurring the background. Check that out before you put out an image, especially if you're like marketing or putting out a post or an Instagram post, whatever. You don't want to have things in the image that you created with text to image, like you can do in ChatGPT, that look weird or that may look off. Because if you're saying hi and the person saying hi has 6 fingers, it's going to reflect very negatively on you. Okay. So even fact checking the images or the videos that you put out with AI, just as important. So we've got about 13 minutes left. I'm sorry I had some extra text running on here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take some questions right now. Let me see if I can switch to that mode.
Yeah, there's a few questions in the chat. So I know that at one point there was somebody asking for examples, but you went through a whole bunch. So that is excellent. Thank you so much for that. This has been enlightening. And you also mentioned some of the AI tools that you use most frequently, right? Like Perplexity and ChatGPT. Are there any others that we should kind of take a note of?
Yes, I'm going to actually put in the chat right now. So
Perfect.
is this for productivity, like business, or more on the marketing side, or both?
Or both.
Marketing, like,
All right. One word.
yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm looking to really tap into this to kind of create some of my social media content.
Okay.
I've been playing around with it, and you're totally right. I like tell it, impersonate this person, or this is your job role, like you're my social media manager, and then, help me create content for like a week. But I'm struggling with finding what's the right tool, like when I want to create an image, or like, for example, I have multiple images that I want to consolidate into a PowerPoint presentation. ChatGPT, I don't know, it's maybe because I'm in the free version, doesn't support visuals. And so I don't know how to, I'm looking for which tool should I be using for some of that work.
ChatGPT, if you get the paid version, you'll be able to create an image. You can enter what you're looking for, create an image of whatever is, that represents your brand, and it'll make it for you. You can start to tweak it. I typically tend to do this, and I'll put it in the chat. I work from ChatGPT, okay? And then I want something as simple like one of the many tools that I have here. I have an army, not to brag, but it's because I need it. Adobe Express. Adobe Express is very intuitive, easy to learn. You can literally go in the library of their images and find pictures. The presentation you're looking at was all Adobe Express. I don't even touch PowerPoint anymore. I don't know why people are using PowerPoint. Maybe it's because of budget or because you're in corporate America and that's what they have available. Totally fine. But even PowerPoint, newer versions have AI built into it, unless you're running another version from a few years back. So in answer to your question, Maria, I would recommend probably getting a paid version of ChatGPT. It'll run you about $20 a month, and subscribing to something like Adobe Express. Adobe Express has been a huge blessing for me. I love it. I've done a lot of things on there, and you couldn't even tell that it was made with that. The pricing, I think, runs from they actually just increased their prices. I think it was January, anywhere from 30 to 50 a month, but you do get the value. You do get the value out of it, and you will recover your costs when your clients start seeing just how nice your presentations, your videos, whatever comes out. So
Thanks. You
absolutely.
mentioned Runway, Midjourney, and was it Hyper AI?
Kyber, I'm going to put in the chat. Kyber AI. You can, for about $15 to $20, you can get 1,000 credits. Each 5 credits, I'm sorry, each 25 to 50 credits out of that bank of 1,000 will create a video image of anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, which is all you need, especially for social media. They're not going to sit there more than 3 seconds. That's the reality, unless you've got something that's really like, wow. So Kyber.ai is great. I've used it before. It has like Midjourney, trying to think. It has Kling built into it. and it's got a couple of other services that are for text to image creation already built into it. It's like almost like a one-stop shop. So I love it. It's been great. And they have this thing called the Super Studio Playground that you can have a huge canvas and start adding and connecting all the visuals that you've made. Super intuitive. By the way, folks, real quick, because I know I got your attention. I don't want to miss out. Can you still see the screen, by the way?
Yes.
If you're interested to learn more about generative AI, digital marketing, strategy for business, I need to share with you. We are having a follow-up on the 28th of this month. Okay. This is the AI full throttle workshop. It's going to be right here in Miramar. I've included a QR code on there. If you send me an email, I'll even throw in the promo code because more than anything, I want you to learn from this. I'm going to be presenting. It's a 3-hour session. I have a morning and an afternoon. It'll be myself, and I have Peter Rodriguez from Leadership Miami. He's a VP in financial services who's going to be providing his expertise when it comes to AI in financial sector, business growth, and strategy. So this is hands-on. This is not a YouTube video. This is not the 1 hour that we're having. This is a 3-hour session, and I encourage you, come on out. I even have a Valentine's promo, and if you want to send a group, go ahead. We're doing send 4 and the 5th person goes free. So save some money. Let me know if I can help you. I would love to have you attend. I've got most of the morning session already sold out, and I've got some of the afternoon sessions still available. And that's the 28th, the last Friday of this month. Okay, sorry, we had some other questions. Thank you for hearing me out.
Yeah, Miss Lisa, I think I saw your hand up first if you want to
Yes,
get yourself.
a few questions. I'll try to make them quick. First one is you talked about voice, right? Speak to it like, give me the response like Shakespeare. I have been trying to train mine, and I do use the free one. I wanted to play in that space before I went, and started paying for it, so I knew what I was doing in the paid version. And I've been using it for about a year now. My
How's it
question
going?
is,
How's it been going overall? You're getting it?
absolutely incredible. No, absolutely incredible. But I always like to get new nuggets whenever possible. So that's why I'm here. And of course, to support you. I'm a big fan. My voice, right? I've given it some of the ebooks that I've written, and it reads that. I've given it some of my landing page and my blog posts so that it learns the voice from which I speak. Other than those things, what other ways is the best way to train? I've given it my client avatar work, all that kind of stuff that we created to speak in our voice. Is there anything I'm missing, or is that a good start? Is there something that's like, oh, but you missed this?
You have already is a strong running start. And the fact that you're saving time on dictating instead of wasting time typing to the point that your fingers hurt because we use it all day.
Yeah, I dictate.
It saves you on time. It's the convenience, and you kind of start treating it like the Alexa in your house. You say, Alexa, play some Michael Bublé. Instead, I'm saying to ChatGPT, mine's is called Kim. Say, Kim, go ahead and provide such and such,
Yeah.
So you've already got a running start. And
Okay.
anybody who's using the service of ChatGPT, you can go on your phone. I have it open as we speak. I know it may be hard to see, but I hit, and now it's listening.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
want you to create an image of a podcast. Very simple.
Yeah.
Hit tap to stop recording. It'll go ahead. So I hope that helps you. You're doing
It did.
amazing. Yes.
It did. One last question. I have some custom GPTs that are in my system already that I use all the time, optimizing a blog post, helping me with some LinkedIn comment, when I have to engage and want to do a different comment for everybody that has replied to a post or to a post. Where else can you get custom GPTs in the free platform, or are they only available in the paid platform? That's my last question for now.
You can get custom GPTs from people in your network who work in the AI community. You can buy them. I don't recommend, because there are people selling, for example, get 300 prompts for $300, and you have somebody that literally used ChatGPT to create prompts.
Yeah, no, I could do that myself. So, But where would you recommend if I was kind of looking, because I know I have AIPRM as well attached to mine, and it helps, you know, with social media and stuff still, again, playing in the free pool first.
Yeah.
Getting ready, you know, to trigger the paid versions here soon.
I mean, what I find useful, and I'll tell you about what's been my experience, besides understanding my purpose before I prompt, that way I'll know who I can reach out to. In my walk, I typically reach out to people in the AI community. I have one gentleman that I consistently reach out to. His name is Joe Blady. He has a startup called Empathy Tech. He's on my LinkedIn. If you're not connected with him, you need to connect with him. He specifically creates certain types of language models for business, and he's a brain. That's all I can say.
Great.
And I'll ask, am I asking this wrong? Can we do a stronger prompt? Because I want to make a custom GPT. That's all it is.
Right.
Maybe-
Right.
Yeah. So I typically rely on my AI community. I don't pay
Okay.
for custom prompts.
No, I prefer not to, you know, so, okay, great, thank you.
My pleasure. There was a
Awesome.
question in the
Yeah, there's
chat that-
also another hand up with Roy, so I want to give him an opportunity before
Hi,
we wrap
Roy.
up.
Roy, come on through.
Mike. Hello,
what-
Mike. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Hi, Roy.
Awesome. All right, and it's amazing. It's unbelievable how many AI tools are out there for so many purposes.
Overwhelming, right?
And yeah, in the past couple of years too, and it's growing fast. It's unbelievable. But it's yeah, it is overwhelming. But I do relate to you, and I can understand what you're saying. That I've seen some YouTube videos where they're animations or action videos, and you have people's eyes crossed and fingers missing, et cetera, elbows missing, arms missing, whatever. But
Yeah.
but right now I'm fairly new. I have used ChatGPT for prompting, which it's amazing. I've created documents using it, but pretty much just the basics. I haven't paid for any of these yet. Now, my question has to do with creating YouTube videos, 3 to 5 minutes long, animated, or maybe pretty much creating almost real life people. And wanted to know which are the AI tools available out there that you're familiar with that would do that for you professionally and looks nice and clean and sharp, without any cross-eyes and missing fingers, etc. So I don't know if it's an overwhelming question, general question, but which couple of AI tools would you recommend for that?
So first, just to be transparent, there will be a learning curve. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. There's gonna be bumps in the road as you start to learn how to use something like Midjourney or Kyber, which I think Kyber is very easy to use. You can try it, kyber.ai. I threw it in the chat.
Okay.
You can use Midjourney as well. Midjourney, I believe it's like .com or .ai.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Luma AI. There's many services on there, but what you're asking for is it's not that it's one high quality output, because what we don't see is that it's actually a combination of an image that has been refined in some cases, then made into a video. See, what you see on LinkedIn, for example, and some of my own networks looks amazing, but what we don't see is the 3 hours or 1 hour that they spent trying to get to that look, because things don't always come out the way you want. So you may have the situation with the eyes or extra fingers, extra digits on the hand. It may change. But as a starting point, in answer to your question, for that, Roy, I'm thinking you could try Kyber. It's been great. You could try Midjourney. We're going to go over some of the tools that I use on the 28th. If you happen to join us, you'll see firsthand on what I'm using. But more importantly, and this is what I love, I'm going to actually provide demo to whoever's in attendance to bring pictures or documents of their own, and we're going to do it as a class so that you can see how we go from A to B, from the starting point to the possibilities point. But definitely, you can start with ChatGPT, get the paid version, make your images, and then dump your images into Kyber. And I'll show you how to do it if you happen to come out on the 28th, and it would be my pleasure to. So I hope this kind of guides the question as well. I hope this helps.
Okay, well, you're going to have us do a finished product, create a finished product by the end of the workshop. We're actually going to have something
Yes, you're
in what, as a video version, or what kind of outputs will they be?
you're gonna see documents, text outputs, videos, and images. We're gonna look also at workflows. So anybody who wants to know, can we be doing this differently in my line of business? We'll analyze that. Ultimately, what happens with this, Roy, it's whoever's in attendance. Because if I have nothing but restaurant owners and realtors in the first part of the session, the workshop is going to be tailored to their use. And that's what AI Full Throttle is all about. It's about igniting your AI journey and making it unique to you. This is not another YouTube training. This is specific to what you're doing and how I can help you to learn those tools. So I hope you'll be able to join.
Okay, Mike, so then you will be using these tools that you have mentioned, right?
I
Adobe
will.
Express or maybe Kyber, etc.
You will be using them. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. All right, yeah, that's it. That's all I had. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for everybody who joined today.
Awesome. Well, if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. You all have Mike's contact information. We're going to be sending out an email with his slides and the recording just in case you missed anything. I know there was a lot of tools that were mentioned and resources that were mentioned, so I'm sure most of us will be replaying this more than once. But I just want to thank everybody for being here. If you are not
Angie?
already a member of the chamber, I want to remind you this is the kind of resources that we provide for you to make sure that we are doing everything we can to help you grow your business. So if you have any questions for you, if I can offer you a membership application, let me know. I'll email you.
Angie,
Yes,
there was a
ma'am.
question I was interested in the answer to. Maria Prado said, can you address security of the information you're putting on the tool, correct? Or when you are using a paid version, does it keep stuff confidential?
Both. ChatGPT has, this is a question regarding ethical use of AI. It's a bit loaded because there's so much meat to the answer. Depending on who is a provider, they will use your prompts or your method or your style. Imagine you times 500,000 people to train their AI model to give you a better service next round. Now, some companies are more transparent about what do we keep or use. I think ChatGPT does not store the conversations, but again, and this comes into the legalities of how much they're allowed to keep. We think like HIPAA, for example, how much can the doctor's office keep about me and for how long? I believe it's 7 years per Florida law. When it comes to AI, we're still in a bit of a young space. I know European AI laws are a little bit more strict, and they've been kind of at the forefront of this. USA is catching up. I'm curious to see what's going to come out with the new administration. As we know, our current leader signed a law into providing for AI and really just putting United States at the forefront of what is artificial intelligence. So with that, I'm sure there's going to be more tools available to us, the everyday user. And of course, with that, there has to be more guidelines for ethical AI laws put in place to protect what are we going to keep about your business, trade secrets.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a much bigger topic that we could probably do an entire other chamber university on. But so for our purposes and definitely to respect everybody's time, I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, everybody.